that Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, run through a wall mentality, culture changing stuff. I don't know if he's got that. He's got the X's and O's, yes. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if he's got the run through the wall for the guy type of breaking through a culture like you absolutely need when you go to a team like Chicago.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Is that a slap in the face to Dan Campbell and the Lions?
Same division?
No.
I think it is. I do. I think it is.
Do you think there was a conversation that was had by Ben Johnson to Dan Campbell? Hey, look, I'm deciding between two
Dan
teams.
said no today. He said he didn't hear anything. He just has a feeling.
Yeah, but I guarantee you Ben Johnson sat down with Dan and said, hey, look, I'm leaning this way. What do you think?
Yeah.
There's been conversations had.
You're probably right.
I very much, if Dan Campbell would say, hey, look, if you go to Chicago Bears, that's fine. This is a job you want. This is a job you take. I think Dan Campbell's a grown man. He's not petty enough to be mad that he's in a division. If it's the job that fits you, I think that Dan, he gives off that energy. Like he doesn't want it, but
I feel like it's a little bit of a slight. And maybe it's none of my business where he goes. It isn't any of my business. I'm talking as a Lion. I'm talking as a guy.
You said he had a great roster.
Oh, it's the best roster that needed a coach. Yeah.
Here's why I say no, Maz, because look at the NFL openings and rank the quarterbacks that they have for me. Now, I'm not a Caleb Williams guy at all. But even I would tell you, of the NFL openings that are still up for grabs, Caleb Williams is the best quarterback out there.
He's got 1 year of tread on him. That's it.
As you said, my brother's in Jacksonville. We had this conversation when he came up from an uncle's funeral. He said, I'm in Jacksonville. I'm telling you, Ben Johnson should go to Chicago. Like, this is what he said. And he's there on the ground. Yeah. He's watched every snap that, Trevor Lawrence has ever taken. He said go to Chicago.
So, again, we could just do this right now. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. New Orleans, Derek Carr. The Jets, broken down Aaron Rodgers. The Cowboys, a broken down Dak Prescott. The Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams. And where's the other one I'm not thinking of?
Raiders.
The Raiders. Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that Ben Johnson understands and that most people understand is you cannot win in this league if you don't have a quarterback. And most teams that have NFL head coaching job openings, that job is not a perfect job, but you think you can make it good. And Ben Johnson, of the openings this year, believes that Caleb Williams is the best, gives him the best opportunity to succeed as a head coach in this league.
I think the Bear fans today are rejoicing and laughing at us that they got our mad scientist. And they believe, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be geeked right now. I would.
Yeah, Ben Johnson is a guy, you look at it in terms of an offensive mind, he needs a quarterback that can operate at the same speed he operates at. And he needs a processor. That's what Caleb Williams is. That's what Jared Goff is. They're processors. You put them in the right system, these quarterbacks can pick you apart. That's what he needs. Sam Darnold is that when you have the perfect situation, he needed a processor, and Trevor Lawrence is an athletic quarterback with a big arm. He's not a processor. If he goes down there and he brings this system, Trevor Lawrence can't have success in this. There's no quarterback runs in his system. There's no, you get outside the pocket. This is a processing type system. And Caleb Williams he's a true processor.
If I was him, I was going to the Bears.
Listen, it is hard to assume that because look, a day after you lose, you accept a head coaching position. I understand this is the league that they live in. This is the world that they live in. But now Schefter's putting out, Ben Johnson is busy assembling his star-studded coaching staff. Yeah. The leading candidate to be defensive coordinator is Dennis Allen, the former Saints head coach.
Yeah.
So you
even looks like Ben Johnson.
But the bottom line is, how focused are you on your current job when you're so busy learning the personnel of your next job?
That's what I asked you.
You're right about that.
No matter what you say, oh, I have a Zoom call. No kidding.
Yeah.
What do you do? My kid's got Zoom calls with all kinds of new companies that want her. What is she doing? She's studying. What do you think they're doing? They're studying every single player and all the draft, where they sit. You don't think he took the job today? That means he had the job.
Right.
He had it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Aaron Glenn's going to be a Jet tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's over.
How focused can someone be on a current job when they are so busy preparing and learning the personnel and assembling a staff? Dennis Allen, former head coach of the New Orleans Saints, appears to be the front runner to be Ben Johnson's defensive coordinator in Chicago. How focused you can be on your current job when you are so busy learning about the personnel and assembling a staff for your next job. I absolutely think that has something to do with it.
And Diana Rossini, just a few minutes ago, Tom Brady and Ben Johnson spent hours on a Zoom last weekend, made a strong case. Johnson strongly considered the Raiders, but Chicago wins the Johnson sweepstakes. So say what you want, all the beat writers and everything, that this is what happens, but we're telling you this is what happens. When you're preparing for an interview, you're preparing for an interview.
First time I ever heard about anything like this was, remember obviously, who could forget it, the USC-Texas game, the greatest game ever, if you will, the 05, 06 season. Norm Child that season, especially towards the end of that run, offensive coordinator for USC, well, he was interviewing for head coaching jobs. He interviewed for that Tennessee job, which he got after that game. Yeah, his offense was very questionable that game against Texas, and it makes you wonder, but if it's the deal, but how do you get around it? So that becomes the question.
Yeah.
Like, if this is the vetting period, which is the playoffs, when you're still in, you still have to go through, what's the procedure? Is it like, all right, cool, we'll wait till the end of the season? Now you don't have your head coach until President's Day? Yeah, you're 6 weeks behind the 8 ball.
And guess what? Even if they put the rules in, you can't interview, they're interviewing. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's backdoor deals. Yeah. That's all.
Or a month, I would say.
That's it. It is what it is. We lost the game. We sucked on Saturday.
Yeah.
But he wasn't himself either. We could say that definitively. Yeah. And from him to go to the Bears, I think, is a slap in Dan Campbell's face. That's from me.
I wonder who he takes from our staff here in Detroit. Does he take, I don't think Mark Brunell is going to be an offensive coordinator. I think he will be a quarterback's coach. Because Ben Johnson is the offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson will be like a Sean McVay, a Sean Payton. He will be like a Kevin O'Connell.
Kyle Shanahan.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I think, does Brunell want to go to Chicago? Does Tanner Eggstrom want to go with him? I don't think so. Maybe Brunell goes to Chicago. I always thought Brunell was trying to get Ben Johnson to go back to Jacksonville.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I always thought. I thought Brunell had his sights set on Jacksonville.
We really cook up some good stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
We cook up some really good stuff. We just think. And the best job for him was the Bears, but I think it's a slap in the face to the Lions.
Yeah, I think you look at you look at the coaches on the staff, and you can kind of tell. Like, if I'm the running backs coach, Scotty Montgomery, I'm not leaving Jahmyr Gibbs. And with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, you look at Antoine Randall, I'm not leaving J-Mo and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have some receivers that I trust. I have some receivers that are all pro. And offensive line as well, Hank Fraley, unless he gets an offensive coordinator job. I'm not leaving what I built with Penei Sewell in this offensive line. So I think you'll get a lot more coaches stay than you think. But you will lose a coach or two that's going to as long as Terrell Williams stays, I'm good.
It's interesting, though. You mentioned Antoine Randall. I'm just off the top of my head, I can't think of any former wide receivers that are offensive coordinators. Like, it seems like it's a quarterback. It's a quarterback or it's an offensive lineman.
Nobody likes receivers. Y'all don't like us. That's what it is.
I got one.
They say we're divas.
Byron Leftwich was a OC.
He was a quarterback.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Quarterback's an offensive lineman.
I had a receiver. You talking about offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Oh, nah.
Wide receiver.
Like wide receivers that have is either gonna be on TV or they doing something else.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Like, I don't know. I mean, just something to think about. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So Aaron Glenn will be next.
He has he will be with the Jets tomorrow. The word is if he doesn't get the Jets job, he'll go to the Saints for a second interview, but he ain't leaving Jersey tomorrow. He's going to sign with the Jets. They picked him with the #1 pick back in the day, became an All-Pro. He's staying in the Jets.
I was listening to Damian Woody on ESPN today. Shout out to Woody. He was upset. Like, he was upset at
what did he say?
He was talking about the Ravens game. Like, he was yelling at Lamar made. Anyway, he was talking about the Jets and the hire, and he was saying we've gone the defensive route for so many years in New York. You look at Rex Ryan, who was my coach. He's a defensive guy. Todd Bowles is a defensive guy. You know, now you bring in Robert Saleh, a defensive guy, and now you bring in another defensive guy in Aaron Glenn. And look, Aaron Glenn is a leader of men, and like you said, he's not just a defensive coordinator. He's a head coach. He understands that, and I give him a lot of credit for that. But my former teammate has a point. Like, it's kind of similar. It's eerily similar to Chicago. Like, they just focus on the defense. All their coaches, they're defensive-minded coaches, and they can't get out of their own way. So I think he's a great leader of men, but that is something to look at. You're bringing in a head coach that, what quarterback are you bringing in?
Aaron Glenn should really take a deep dive into going back to the Jets. It's like I'm telling you, it's like going into hell.
But the problem is, isn't that owner Woody Johnson? He's like the Knicks owner, right?
Yeah.
When James Dolan left the Knicks to go handle the Sphere in Vegas, the Knicks got better. Maybe that Woody Johnson's got special. What is he now? Some
who knows? He's
ambassador.
He's an
ambassador now. Maybe he'll leave the Jets alone, and Spielman and Glenn can figure that out.
Oh, God.
That's funny.
Bray, get us out of here, my friend.
Oh, man, I know this is a tough one for Lions fans this Monday. We're sorry we had to do it to you, but, you hold us to a standard, and we got to keep it
Nobody
real.
even cares about the national championship. I'm just saying.
The hell with the national championship.
Go Irish.
So dumb.
I'm not. Go Irish, I guess. I could care less. I'm going to watch it, though.